If you were to purchase a Pageant Series 7 Burgandy like this, you'd be buying a very, very impressive Caravan. This one is a 2008 model and would save you a lot of money into the bargain. And yet when you compare it to the very latest models, you'd find several features of note. For instance, it's got what's called a Euro brake, which is a self-adjusting brake, top of the range. It was the first of Bailey's to have a 13-pin single plug, and that became the norm there on in. The roof panel is fantastic because they advertised it with several people standing on it. It was so rigid. So what are you missing out on then when you compare this with the latest models? Well, there's one area that seriously is quite different. For instance, here is where the different panels are joined together with screws, with sealant, and the hope that that sealant doesn't deteriorate. Because over a period of time, the differential expansion between different pieces and the fact that there are different sections can render the thing to have weak points. What Bailey did the following year, that you're not getting here, is introduce something where it was clamped together rather than screwed with a special joining thing called the Alutech construction section. You've probably read about it. They also introduced in the later models a one piece. The back goes over the top, goes down the front, and there are no joining points in it. Whereas this one has a big joining point across the top here and at the back, and I'd like to look at that more closely. This is the point where the bonded roof panel meets up with the moulded acrylic ABS panel on the front. And naturally where they meet, there's got to be a junction. It's appropriate that the junction is covered by a piece of metal as well. There's sealant underneath to also keep the rain out, and I'm pleased to see stainless steel screws, which are actually helping as well. These are in turn covered with a little spot of sealant, though it looks as if it's ready for an extra spot here and there. Here is a risk point though, because as you're driving along towing your van on a rainy day, it can actually get rainwater under this edge if there's any weak spot. And likewise, if it's been raining and the water is draining down, this acts like a little dam. The thing is, I wouldn't dismiss this at all, as long as if you were buying the van, you ask the dealer to put a fresh strip of sealant of an adhesive kind, front and back. You see, because it hasn't rained here for several days, and yet, look at this. Water has started to collect, and naturally, that could pose a threat and be a potential leaking point. I said at the beginning, this van was impressive for its age. Just look at the space we've got. Even the heater, the space heater, doesn't seem to encroach, even though on modern vans they've put them under the floor or maybe in a bed box. Things like the microwave oven is standard 7 years ago, so that was really ahead of its time. Look at all the food preparation area, and over on the hob we've got a nice 4-burner hob, though it isn't like the latest ones with an electric hot plate. Bailey was introducing some ideas here as well, which I think you should note. The idea of a rail with the hinging on there, so that it's very, very easy to adjust a hinge if the door is slightly out of adjustment. And along the bottom is a nice rubber piece that stops it shutting with a bang. Over here was another feature that they were developing, which was a weight saving feature. And you can see the dividing panel there has big cutouts so that it saves on a little bit of weight. Every bit helps. By the door we've got the main panel. Yes, it's switched. The latest ones may have touchscreen systems. I'm not too worried about that. This has a smoke alarm. The latest ones have to have a CO, carbon monoxide alarm too. But you can always add that yourself. With respect to the walls are just a ply and it looks nice. It's got a coating on the face. The latest ones tend to now have fiberglass, which is wipe clean. In the lounge, I've sat on those seats. I tell you, they're comfy. And regarding the pattern, well, if that's 7 years ago, I think that would show us well even in a modern van. And so to the bathroom next. This is a large space. It could even be used as a dressing room. What's unusual, and I haven't seen before, is a fold-across door that actually separates the shower itself from the toilet, so that when the shower head is shooting water out, it doesn't get all over the toilet seat. I think that's rather good, and all in all, this is as impressive as all the other parts in this rear bed area. I wanted to sum up here at the back of the van because of this small badge. It reminds us that Bailey started manufacturing caravans as long ago as 1948. This is its celebratory 2008 model, and that shows they've been going for 60 years. And you've seen some of the innovations that are in this particular example. The only thing I would add is, of course, the following year they didn't stop. They continued with new revolutionary methods of construction. It was the start of the Alutech era. Bailey doesn't stand still for long.